Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Dino, this is Patch's Repair Shop. We're back on with the Ducati. We've got a 3/4 inch Milwaukee gun on that stuck sprocket nut that we got stuck with last week. So let's see if that gun will actually undo it. I think it will, but let's find out. Let's crack on, guys. Will it or won't it undo it? It's been soaking, I've cleaned it up, let's try. Yeah. That got it. Still fairly tight though, weren't as easy as I thought. So, one nut. Now the lock nut's stuck on there, obviously. Sorry, the locking washer. So, before we go ahead and take the front sprocket off, I'm just going to get the rear hugger off. Got some 5mm Allen keys. Why does that feel tight? This isn't going to turn into one of those jobs, is it, guys? Let's just work it in and out a bit. Hopefully that's going to come out. I've got my hand right in the way, haven't I? Yeah, she's coming. We get the rear hugger off because it goes over the chain and everything looks like it needs a bit of a clean up. Haven't ridden it for a while, maybe I've let it go a little bit, which I shouldn't have done because I've had it for a while and I do really like it. And a couple of you have commented, the state of the chain is disgusting, and you are correct. I haven't ridden it in that state though. Right, that one came out. Let's hope the rest do. Oh blimey, it's all minging underneath now. Under the bolts are getting stuck. We might have caught that in time. So good clean up required, and we'll just run a tap through those bolt holes and clean the bolts up. Should be good to go again. So that's the rear hugger off. I've never done this bit before, guys. I'm not sure if the rear wheel needs to come off or not. We're about to find out. So I always put a little cable tie across these, but I cut that off already. Now these are, well, on the wheel side. This isn't. On the wheel side, so if you wanted to whip the wheel off quickly, it's a 46mm socket, and I've got this one which I always keep under the rear pillion seat in case I'm out and about and the tyre needs to come off somewhere, get a puncture, I don't know. And maybe the garage doesn't have a 46mm socket, so I always keep that under the rear seat. This one's a bit smaller. So this was a 41mm, guys. Really sorry, I forgot to hit record. Rookie error. So that has now made that loose, so that's easy. Is that a washer in there? Yes it is, so there's a little shim in there as well. Let's take that out. Now we'll move back to the front sprocket. Let's move you nice people. God, that is minging, isn't it, guys? A couple of you have commented, and you are 100% right, it is minging. Need a screwdriver. Lock washer's a bit stuck on there. There we go. So lock washer off, and that's, thankfully that's moving. So I'm hoping I can pull this forward and at the same time pull the rear sprocket forward, and we can get somewhere. Do you know what would be a lot easier? I'm doing this wrong, ain't I, guys? Getting it all wrong. Getting it all wrong. I am going to stick a cutting disc through that chain. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Right, I've stuck my angle grinder through the chain. Let's pull the chain off. Right, chain, rusty bin job. Okay. Now, hopefully, this will come all the way off. Yes, it will. It's minging. Right, bin job. Cleaning job. Right, that's the front sprocket and chain off. Back over to the back. Now we can pull this right off. We can get to the big Allen keys at the back, and we can change the rear sprocket over. But yeah, now's our opportunity to give everything a good clean up. It's all greasy and horrible here. There's a shim there, actually big convex washer in there. So here, guys, what we've got is an eccentric hub fitted in the rear swing arm. So basically this bit here where my finger is, this hub has got an offset hole in the middle. Okay, so this hole that the shaft is coming through is not in the middle of this hub. And when we undo the two what look like 14mm locking nuts at the back of the swing arm, which we'll do in a second, which we may have to take the rear wheel off for, that will allow this eccentric hub to move inside the swing arm. And because the hole is off center, that will allow the wheel to move backwards and forwards, therefore giving us the opportunity to make the chain looser if it moves this way, or tighter if it moves backwards. But before I do that, guys, I'm just going to give everything a good degrease. Don't know why there's chain grease everywhere, because it clearly didn't stick to the chain. Maybe that was the problem. Right, let's do a bit of cleaning, shall we? We'll take that wheel off and clean it up as well. Try and work a bit of this in, let it soak. I'll go and get a coffee and then we'll jet wash it off. Treat yourselves to a coffee, guys, if you want. We're nice like that, eh? I wouldn't mind a stronger degreaser. This is just an extra strength trade stuff off Big Jeff. So if you guys have got any comments on a really good sort of bike degreaser for these kind of jobs, pop it in the comments below and let me know. So just off the camera, guys, giving it a degrease and a jet wash. And what we're going to do now is slacken off these 2 pinch bolts that are pinching the rear swing arm around the hub in the middle. Okay, so let's just crack these off. For the purpose of this, I have taken the rear wheel off. Get your words out, Dino. Now, I wasn't going to take this guard off, but I can't get in there with a socket. Oh, I can, actually. Take it all back. You don't need to take these right out, but I am, just so that I can give them a bit of a clean. So that's the rear bolts out. So what you can see now the pinch bolts out, guys, is I'm going to do it by hand. There's a special spanner that goes around here and locks into here for tensioning the chain. I do not have one of those, so I can probably make something. For the purpose of this video, if I hold the chain guard, you'll see the eccentric hub move around. Okay, so fairly easy to do. Right, next step, get the new front sprocket on and get the new rear sprocket on, I suppose. Right guys, changing the rear sprocket is simple. We undone that big 41mm nut, we pulled this sprocket carrier forward off of the spline shaft, and we're going to change this rear sprocket. So to do this, you're going to need a 12mm Allen key, straightforward Allen key or a socket, and a 14mm spanner or socket, I suppose. Either or, choice is yours. Not a 14mm. You will need a 12mm Allen key socket and a 15mm socket. So let's see how tight these are and if I will need the gun. So I did temporarily slack them off on the bike, but I don't know if they actually undone, so by the looks of it, it might be worth doing that. So there's one, so it's like it's a bush. That's where the nut goes, that's where it goes through, that's where your nut goes on. It's a bush and there's a 12mm Allen key in there. So that's one. Right, that's interesting. Technically, I wouldn't have had to have undone all of them. They would have just popped out the rear sprocket. So that's interesting. So it's obviously held, yeah, it's held against the hub in the swing arm and the front of that plate. So technically, guys, you wouldn't have had to have undone all of them. Maybe loosen them off to make the bushings turn a little bit, and you should be able to get that out. So apologies. have a look what's in the box. Hopefully this is all correct. Right, definitely the wrong rear sprocket or some kind of adapter required. Oh man. Right, let's check the front sprocket. Front sprocket looks okay. Let me just go and try it out on the bike. So the front sprocket is definitely correct, so that fits. The chain is correct. It's the rear sprocket that I'm not going to open just in case I have to send it back, but instead of having these holes for the bushes to go in, it just has a standard bolt pattern around the outside, so maybe there's an adapter. Let me go and have a look online before we call it a day for this video. Just had a quick bit of research online, guys, and there is an adapter. So just if you're doing this yourself, I'm happy to open this now because I don't think I'm going to have to send it back. So, as you know, this is the one that came off of it. Yeah, and that's all good. So that's the same sprocket. So I've ordered an adapter that goes in the middle of here, which is effectively this bit. And it's also just dawned on me that I keep calling these bushies or bushings, but this is actually the cush drive, isn't it? Because of the way this rear single-sided swing arm is set up. If you want an explanation on cush drives, somewhere on the screen now will be the video that you want to click on, which is part of my Triumph series. So this is actually the cush drive for this Ducati. So really annoying, because I really didn't want a quick chain and sprocket video on my Multistrada to end up being a 3-part video, but that's Ducati life for you sometimes. Well, that's just any motorcycle life sometimes. So new rear sprocket, the adapter's on its way, and you'll see that that bolt's in the middle, and then the bushes fit back in there. You can see the space there where they go, can't you? Look, quite simply. So we will crack on next week and get it finished off, guys. Thank you for watching. That concludes part 2. Hit subscribe, hit comment, hit like. I'm Dino. Thanks for watching Patch's Repair Shop, and I'll see you next week.